The sun was already high, burning over the tin rooftops of the bustling Lagos market. Amid the cacophony of voices, traders shouting, buyers haggling, and buses honking, Jane stood behind her wooden stall. She wiped the sweat from her brow with the hem of her faded dress, adjusting the neat pile of bananas and mangoes she had carefully arranged that morning. If you love African stories, then sit back, relax, and listen. At 25, Jane had learned to survive in this chaos. Her stall was her lifeline. Every day she rose before dawn, carried her basket to the market, and sold fruits until the sun set. She didn't complain. Survival didn't give her that luxury. But sometimes, late at night when the world was quiet, she whispered to herself, there has to be more than this. Little did she know, her ma was already walking toward her. Had just returned from abroad after nearly 6 years. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a calm dignity, he had the look of a man who had seen the world yet carried home in his heart. His father was one of the wealthiest businessmen in Nigeria, but Obi had never been comfortable living behind walls of privilege. While studying and working overseas, he learned independence. He returned not to flaunt wealth, but to find meaning. The market was not where one would expect to find him, yet that was exactly where he wandered that afternoon. He wanted to feel the pulse of his people again, the rawness of life without tinted windows or security guards. Then he saw her. Jane was haggling with a stubborn customer, her voice soft but firm. Strands of sweat-damp hair clung to her face, yet there was a glow about her, an elegance poverty had not managed to erase. Her laughter, when it finally came after winning the bargain, sounded like music. Obi's steps slowed. He didn't know why he couldn't look away. Banana mango by Fresh Fruit, Jane called, holding up a ripe mango. Their eyes met. For a moment the world's noise faded. Smiled, she looked away shy, though she didn't understand why her heart had suddenly begun to race. He approached the stall, pretending to be just another customer. How much for the mangoes? He asked. Jane sized him up quickly. His clean shirt, his polished shoes, he wasn't her usual customer. 500 naira for one, she said simply. That's too much, he teased, his smile warm. Frowned, Ogre, these are the best mangoes in the market. You won't find sweeter ones. Obi chuckled, then give me the best one you have. She picked a golden mango, wrapped it carefully, and handed it over. He gave her 1,000 naira note. I don't have change, she said nervously. Then keep it, Obi replied. Jane blinked. I can't, I don't take charity. Respect for her deepened instantly. It's not charity, it's gratitude for the best mango in Lagos. With that, he walked away, leaving Jane staring at the money in her hand, confusion battling with a strange, quiet excitement. Obi returned to the market the next day, and the day after that. At first, Jane thought it was coincidence, but soon she realized he was coming for her. Each time he bought fruit, and each time he stayed longer, asking her questions about her day, about the market, about her dreams. At first, Jane resisted. Men of his kind, rich, well-dressed, educated, did not truly care about girls like her. They toyed with them, then tossed them aside. She had seen it happen to friends. She wouldn't let it happen to her. Obi was different. He listened. He laughed at her jokes. He never made her feel small. One evening, as the market was closing, he walked her halfway home. They talked about life, about how unfair it could be, but also about hope. Jane found herself confessing things she had never told anyone. When they reached her street, Obi stopped. Jane, may I see you again tomorrow? Heart trembled, but she nodded. Their love grew like a flame, gentle at first, then impossible to hide. But love in Lagos is never simple. Jane's fellow traders whispered. Some accused her of using her beauty to trap a rich man. Others were envious, watching Obi arrive in his sleek car sometimes to pick her up. At home, her relatives warned her, men like him don't marry girls like us. Be careful, Jane, don't dream too much. Even Obi's world wasn't kind. His father's associates raised eyebrows, and when his mother, Madame Adana, discovered the truth, the storm truly began. Obi, she said sharply one evening, I hear you are spending time with a market girl. Is this true? Yes, Mama. Voice rose. After all our sacrifices, after all your education abroad, you bring shame to this family by chasing a fruit seller. Mama, Obi said firmly, Jane is more than a fruit seller. She is kind, hardworking, and honest. She has a heart richer than any I've ever seen. Adana's eyes burned with pride and anger. You will not disgrace us. This girl will never step into this house. Jane could feel the weight of the world pressing against them. Obi, maybe your mother is right, she whispered one night. We come from different worlds, I don't belong there. Took her hand, don't ever say that, you belong with me. If I must choose between wealth and you, I choose you every time. Tears filled Jane's eyes, she had never been loved like this, yet fear gnawed at her. 1 week later, Obi was forced to travel for business. In his absence, Madame Adana struck. She visited Jane at the market, her driver's car parked arrogantly nearby. Stay away from my son, Adana said coldly, handing Jane an envelope stuffed with money. Take this and disappear. Jane's face burned with shame. Madam, I don't want your money. Then want your dignity, Adana hissed, because if you don't leave him, I will destroy you. Jane stood her ground, but inside, her heart was breaking. When Obi returned, Jane was gone. Her stall was empty. No one knew where she had gone. For weeks, Obi searched. His heart grew heavier with each passing day. Finally, a clue came. Jane had taken a job as a housemaid in another town, far away from Lagos. Drove for hours until he found her. She was sweeping the compound of a large house when she saw him. Her broom fell from her hand. Obi, why did you leave me? His voice trembled. Tears spilled down Jane's face. Because I love you, and because your world will never let me in. Stepped forward, cupping her face. Then I will leave that world, don't you understand? You are my world. Sobs broke into laughter, into relief, into love. For the first time, she let herself believe. They fought for their love, against gossip, against family, against fear. Obi refused to bow to pressure. Slowly, even Madame Adana saw the truth, that her son was happier with Jane than he had ever been with any of the wealthy girls she paraded before him. One day, after months of resistance, Adana called Jane to her home. You have fire in you, she admitted. I tried to break you, but you stood firm. Perhaps you are worthy of my son after all. Tears filled Jane's eyes, but she bowed respectfully. Thank you, Mama. The wedding was simple but beautiful. Not the extravagant affair society expected, but a celebration of love that had survived every storm. When Jane walked down the aisle, dressed not in diamonds but in grace, Obi's heart swore silently. No matter the struggle, no matter the twist, our love will always win. Years later, Jane no longer sold fruit in the market, but she never forgot the smell of ripe mangoes, the sweat of survival, or the dignity of standing tall despite poverty. She carried those memories like jewels, teaching her children the lesson she had lived. Love is not about wealth or status. Love is about choosing each other, even when the world says you shouldn't. In the end, Jane and Obi's love, once doubted, resisted, and tested, became the kind of story whispered in markets, the kind of tale that gave other girls hope. Because in that market, on an ordinary day, a rich man found the most extraordinary treasure, the heart of a poor fruit seller named Jane.